I'm not going to do it today, I promise.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen, it is Love, Lust, and Badass Soul coming fresh out of Cool and Deadly Unadulterated Fuckery 3.0. We recovered, AJ. We survived the nation's capital. How are you doing, lovely?
No, I think you need to say the nation's capital survived us. We didn't break. We left shit intact. Went to our respective homes and behaved ourselves for the most part. We did a couple of things that like threw people out of their seats, but we did good. We did good. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. It was such an amazing experience and a great event. And our audience was just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Love,
Love,
lust,
lust,
and badass soul.
Yeah, honestly, like, of course, going into a live show and our first one, I didn't know what type of audience interaction we'll get. Like, what level do they just want to sit back and watch us do our thing? What level do they want to be an active participant in the conversation? And I think the icebreaker definitely helped, but they kind of, as soon as one person took it off, the whole audience was engaged, and by the end of it, it was like a discussion between us and the whole it was a beautiful thing.
And I absolutely love that. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Because I was thinking, okay, like, are we gonna? Because I had a couple of moments of worry and thinking, like, like, are people gonna like participate? Is this just gonna be me and you talk? Because you know what I mean. Like when we do it in this format, we don't know who's listening.
Exactly.
We don't know if people are yelling and cussing at their phone, yelling and cussing at their laptop or whatever. Right? It's just me and you like this. But that for me was like one of the highlights of it when people were just like when we the certain things that we were reading, people were like, yeah, and they're like they're talking to us, and it made me think that that's what they do when they're in the privacy of their own home actually listening to us. But it was nice. It was
Yeah, and then the open marriage versus polyamorous relationship conversation that we got into, that was a great one, and I loved how just how open and we got people who gave their opinions on it, and the whole dating a bisexual man, like it was a really, and that part we didn't even plan. It kind of just happened organically. It was beautiful.
And it was very mature.
Yeah.
Which is something that I definitely appreciate. Because the thing is, with different personalities in the room, you don't know how people are going to mesh or meld or get along. And everyone was mature. Everyone was respectful. Voices were heard. You know what I mean? No one was chastised. Like, even if you didn't agree with what was being said, people were respectful about it. And that's one of the things that I love, because I know that we always talk about that. You can agree to disagree with someone. You can hear a person's point. You can respect what they're saying. You don't have to love it and you don't have to agree with it, but you can respectfully agree to disagree. And it was great to see that kind of engagement and interaction and camaraderie in the room, especially in a room full of people who, like there were groups and pockets of people who knew each other, but everyone collectively didn't know each other, which was really, it was a great first experience. CJ.
Yes, and I know, like, we all went to a bar afterwards, but that's why I'm glad with what we do next. It's going to be the after party in the same place, because seeing everyone kind of all interacting and talking after the show, and it was a beautiful thing to see a bunch of people who didn't all know each other beforehand. After they experienced that live show, they're just sitting there talking and kicking the shit and mingling with people they don't know. So it was, listen, it was fucking amazing. And I'm not just saying that because it was us. If this was somebody else's live show and they did the same thing, I'd be saying the same thing. It was amazing to see that. And we had a couple of people come off the street because they saw black people, a bunch of black people walking into this venue, and they just had to know what was going on. They paid for a ticket and stayed for the show. Man, it was humbling.
Yeah. And people who had never listened to the podcast before but came to the event anyway are now new listeners, which is like, it was great. As a kickoff to our tour, it was phenomenal. It really.
So one of the topics that we did discuss at the live show, and I want to talk about it here because the listener didn't actually come to the live show, so I want to make sure that she knows that we're actually talking about her subject. And this one is just to paraphrase it because it was really, really long. I promise you we read the whole email at the live show, ma'am. But to kind of paraphrase it here, she tells the story of her sister dating this guy. I believe it's been for 4 years. And her sister's 35, the guy's 29, or vice versa. I'm sorry if I don't have that order right. And so they've been dating. She doesn't know where he works. She knows his first name and his birthday. Has never met anyone in his life. They've been having car sex for this whole entire time. 4 years, 30 years old. You've been having sex exclusively in the car. You know, this email is pretty long, but I mean that's the gist of it. And she wanted to know, is her sister the side chick? So AJ, I mean, what do we say at the live show?
What did everybody say?
Yeah.
She's not even the side chick. She's the backup to the side chick. Like, she knows nothing about this man, but implicitly trusts him, considers him to be her husband. You know, there was a part in the email where he asked her to eat his ass, and she did, and she felt like that took them to a new sexual and emotional level and just made her feel more connected and tied to him. You know, he's never taken her out anywhere. He's never been to her home. Then when he broke up with the woman that he was with, that he had ended up having a child with somebody because
yeah.
have kids or something crazy like that, broke up with that woman, moved in with a roommate. She still couldn't come to his place because now she didn't have a car. Like, it was just crazy. He made arrangements with her to meet at a hotel for them to have sex, but she had no way of getting there. So he kind of like ditched her. Like, it was just crazy. But she's not even the side chick, because honestly, side chicks even get a regular schedule. Side chicks even know where you live in case you want them to come to your house to tea for 1-2 piece. Side chicks at least get maybe like not a Valentine's Day, they make the day after Valentine's Day. They don't get Christmas, they get Boxing Day. You know what I mean? Side chicks at least get a level of respect where they're the second girlfriend. She doesn't even have that. How do you not fucking know this man's name after 4 years?
Yeah.
Fam, how are you taking hood in the people's car for 4 years? Not
her
even
back
a
must hurt.
TJ, not even a blow-up mattress. I would even take a blow-up mattress, not even in somebody's car for 4 years, and you're grown. You're not 15 or 16. Why are you taking fuck in car for 4 years? Please help me understand that. She's not even the side chick. She's the backup to the side chick. God no.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, like it's not even she is the person that literally, when all his, and she may not even be the second side chick, like when everyone else is unavailable, he goes to her.
Thank you.
And you know, and it's yeah, it's funny to hear and for us to talk about, but it's really sad. And I hope your sister really play this for her, get her to listen to this, because she's worth more than this. And I don't care what else she's been through. Everyone is worth more than this. There is somebody who will treat you like the queen you are. There's someone who will appreciate everything that you do. There's somebody who will not take this shit for granted. For someone to not even have the decency to take you inside 4 walls and to have sex with you in a car for 4 years. Don't get me wrong. Like I said at the live show, I'm all down for getting it in where we can from time to time. Like I'm all good for pulling over on the side of the road from time to time. But exclusive car sex for 4 years? No, that's not a good look.
But then the thing is too, like, even just the basic things, how do you not know what his last name is after 4 years? You know what I mean? How do you not have just the basic details about him after 4 years? And how is it that you convince yourself that this man loves you when he hasn't shown you anything but he wants to fuck you? You know what I mean? I say all the time, because women, we are emotional creatures. There's no denying that. You can't equate sex and love because they are not synonymous. Sex and love are not synonymous. I'm going to say it again. Sex and love are not synonymous. It's just sex. And the fact that he stepped out of whatever your relationship is to go have a child with somebody else because you were either unable or unwilling to have a child, that alone should let you know that this man doesn't respect you. Sis, you deserve so much more than that. You know what I mean? And he doesn't love you. That's not love. That is not love. It just isn't. That man doesn't even respect you enough to really even consider and care about your feelings. Like that's toxicity at its best. Like, yeah, that makes my head scratch me. Okay, so this one says, good evening, good night again. And congratulations on the live show. I heard it was amazing, and you and Miss AJ looked amazing. Hoping you would save this as a listener question for whenever you film another episode, because I genuinely want to hear both your opinions on this. I have a friend, she is 19 years old and has known this man for over a year. He is 28. They've been in a relation, and she's been in a relationship with this man for 8 months. They smoke weed, they drink to their heart's content to the point where it is unhealthy, I'm sure. They don't have stable money or stable jobs. She doesn't have a high school education. This man has a long list of drugs he has done over the years, some I've never even heard the names of. And they live together in the back of an apartment in someone's apartment. in New Hampshire. 8 months into the relationship, she decided she's ready to have kids and she proposes to him. A week after the proposal, past week, it's been like this constantly. And honestly, even before the engagement, it was like this. She second guesses herself, she makes decisions out of love and isn't thinking straight at all, and gets upset when those decisions backfire on her. She claims to love this man very much, and he claims to love her. Yet 3 times already, she has come to me claiming that he pulled the "if you leave me, I'll kill myself" card. Aside from that, she talks about nothing but him. Her and I used to talk about what we love to do in our free time, the music we loved, what she wanted to do when she makes enough money to do it. But it's as if this man is sucking the life out of her and just smoking her out and drinking with her and giving her sex. I'm tired of having to play the therapist in her relationship because that's genuinely all she comes to me for. If I tell her about it, it's like we're walking on eggshells because she's so sensitive and emotional. I'd rather just cut her off, but I feel bad. Should I be blunt like I do with everything with everyone else? Cut her off completely, walk around the situation, suck it up and deal with it because she's my friend? I don't know. Please help. I'm so sorry this was so long, Mr. Hayes. Please don't kill me. Love, R.
This is a lot of shit to unpack.
Yeah.
How the hell do you wind up in an engagement with something like this?
You just heard me say it. Women, because we are emotional creatures, we confuse sex with love. And really and truly, it's like, if you were in a relationship that wasn't the greatest before, and now you're in a relationship where this man is spending all his time with you and having sex with you all the time and giving you all his attention because he doesn't fucking work anywhere, excuse me, yourself, oh my God, he loves me because everything about his world is me. But really and truly, when you break down the dynamics of it, he has so much time to spend with you because he doesn't do anything else. He's not productive. And for a man that's 28, there's a 10-year age difference between them. He should be more of a leader and a guide to her about living a good life. You're sitting down drinking and smoking and doing drugs day in and day out. One, the harm that you're causing to your body at some point could be irreparable. Two, you're talking about having children when your whole entire being is toxic right now, not just for yourself, but in thinking about creating life and bringing another human being into the world. You need to get yourself physically and mentally and emotionally right. Then you play the guilt card when he says to you, if you ever leave me, I'm going to kill myself. That's a whole other, that's something that we can't even really get into because that's just going to be a whole long discussion. But I mean, wheeling it back, the person who sent the message wants to know what she should do. I don't think cutting your friend off is the right thing to do. You may want to limit your interactions with her, but honestly, if she's your friend, you need to sit down and hard talk her. Whether she cries, whether she bawls, whether she gets upset or not, if you love her, you need to sit down and hard talk her about what she's doing with her life. And she essentially has two choices. She's either going to listen to you or not listen to you, But at the very least, if you've said it to her, if you've voiced what your concerns are, if you've expressed to her, I don't feel like this is the right path. It's not to say that you're trying to choose for her what she should do, but if you can give her very clear vision about how she's ruining her life and the toxicity that's around her and the way that she's toxified or allowed her life to become toxic, she might listen, And if all else fails, once you've done that and you've sat down and had that hard talk with her, you need to distance yourself emotionally so that you don't get caught up in the situation, because it's very easy for us to get so wrapped up in what everyone else is doing, what our friends are doing, what's happening in their lives that, we start to take on that stress, we start to take on that drama, and it starts to affect us mentally and emotionally, and you don't want to be in that place.
And I agree. I think you said to start off with should you cut your friend off? No. And I agree with that to an extent. I think you should do everything AJ said. Talk to her, be a hard ass on her. Like, obviously she may need that. You never know how being completely honest with someone, even if it may hurt them, may make them wake up to something. Because at the end of the day, if that's your friend, she should know that you're never going to say anything to hurt her. Even if it does hurt her, you're not meant to be hurt. You're not saying it to be hurtful. You're saying it because it's your honest opinion and it's the truth and how you view the situation. But what I will say is, if it ever becomes to and gets to the point where it's affecting you or draining you, you have to protect your own peace. Not saying that necessarily means you have to cut your friend off, but after you have that hard conversation one time and she's not listening, it may have to get to a point to where you have to draw the line with her and say, your relationship, I'm not talking about it. To protect our friendship, I'm not going to talk about your relationship. So please don't bring that to me, because I've tried to talk to you about it. You're deciding to stay in it. That's your choice. I can respect that as your friend, but I don't need to talk about it anymore because it's affecting me personally.
Yeah. I was thinking a couple of days ago, not the same thing, but a friend of mine, she's in a relationship with a person that I don't like. And I've made attempts to be around them um, as a couple. And I've done this enough to know that I've tried. I gave it my all to the point where I stopped going around and sort of limited our interaction. And she said to me one day, "Do you not come around anymore because of him?" And I said to her honestly and truthfully, yeah, like if you want to hang out with me, I have no problem with that. But if I know that he's going to be there, I'm not going to come, because I don't want to make it uncomfortable for you. But at the same time, my mental peace and wellness is also really important to me. And I'm not going to
Absolutely.
put myself in a situation where now I'm uncomfortable, and sometimes you have to do that. And you're really and truly, like, as human beings, we forget that the person that we owe the most to is ourselves first and foremost. Because if you don't have anything to give, you can't give emptiness to somebody. You know what I mean? If you're taking everything out of your well and your well becomes empty and nobody's replenished your well, now you're empty and there's nothing for you to give anybody. And you're going to end up feeling shitty. You're going to end up feeling tired and fatigued and sad, and all these emotions that you didn't go in with the intention of having because you're so focused on supporting somebody else. You have to remember that your own mental health and well-being comes first and foremost, and you should never sacrifice that for anyone. You know, give as much as you can to that point where you feel like, okay, it's overwhelming and it's too much now, and take a step back. And nobody can be mad at you for that. And if they are, they will just have to deal with that themselves. There's only so much that you can give of yourself. You can't bleed yourself dry for anyone.
That's a fact. And you got to protect your own peace. I mean, really, it's very simple. Whatever that means to you, you have to be able. You can't give anything to someone if you're not getting anything back, or if you're drained. You have to protect that yourself. And unfortunately, she may be being a bad friend by just coming to you, but not, again, to like piggyback off what I said earlier, not intentionally, not in a way that I'm trying to hurt you, but in a way that she's maybe so caught up in what she has going on, she doesn't realize she's not really feeding back into the friendship. So,
Yeah.
well, anything left on this one?
Not for her. It just always sucks when I hear that people are put in those positions where they have to make a choice to walk away from a friendship. Like, especially, it's like intimate relationships are different because, look, they involve sex and all that sort of stuff. But those types of friendships, especially ones that you've cultivated with somebody for a long time, when you're faced with that choice of having to walk away, it just sucks and it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, but the good thing is that even if you have to walk away, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's forever.
True.
And sometimes you do, for whatever reason, friends separate for a little while and then they come back and maybe the friendship's even stronger. So
CJ the optimist. Look at that.
I really try to be, as much as I hate the human race sometimes, I really try to be optimistic for people. I want to see everyone be happy. Just be happy, people.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to help people get to the happy.